Hey, LeBron, just studying the Heat and what you've seen from them in this postseason, what's at the top of the list? What stands out the most to you about the way that they're playing basketball?
I would think two things. One, how hard they play, 48 minutes. No matter if they're up, no matter if they're down, they play extremely hard. Um, and I think two, it would be the way they move without the ball. They share the ball. Um, Everyone is live on the floor. It's not one guy that you can disrespect or be off throughout the course of an offensive possession. And they do a hell of a job of moving without the ball, sharing the ball, cutting, passing. So those are two things that stand out.
LeBron, you've described that time in Miami like it was going to college for you. If you can think back to those 4 years, what were the most important lessons that you learned about yourself and about leadership in general?
I think as far as leadership, that grows no matter where you are every day. If you want to be a leader, if you strive to be a leader every day, and I think being around, Rouse and Spo, D Wade and UD, and just to name a few, being a part of that culture allowed me to grow, allowed me to see, what it takes to not only compete for a championship, but also to win a championship. So it definitely, put me in a position where I knew what it took. I saw what it took. But also, I fit that culture as well because of how hard I worked. So it was a perfect match for those 4 years.
Hey, LeBron, it's Bill Oram. Would it have any extra meaning to you to win a championship against Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, guys that have helped shape you and vice versa in those years together?
Absolutely not. It's no extra meaning to winning a championship, no matter who you're playing against. It's already hard enough to even reach the finals, to be in this position. So if you're able to become victorious out of the finals, it doesn't matter who it's against. I'm just happy that I'm here with the opportunity, to represent not only myself, but represent our fans, our fan base, our organization, my teammates, our coaching staff, our training staff, and so many others that represent this organization to the utmost respect.
Awesome.
Dave McMenamin.
LeBron, 6 years after playing for Miami, how do you feel about Pat Riley?
That's such a broad question, Dave. I don't understand.
Leaves it open for interpretation. Like, when you hear the name Pat Riley, what do you think about? How do you describe your relationship?
I hear the word Pat Riley, you think about probably one of the greatest minds that this game has ever had. He's won at every level. Seen a stat the other day that he's been part of a championship in 4 decades. This league is not the same without Rouse. So, he's a great guy, a great motivator, but someone that just knows what it takes to win. And he's shown that over the course of 40 years.
Algo.
LeBron, you talked about just sort of the difficulty of adapting to the bubble. How much have you sort of motivated yourself by reflecting that, your teammates are taking cues from you and trying to see, how you approach things and sort of approach kind of getting through this grind of 3 months here?
It's probably been the most challenging thing I've ever done as far as a professional, as far as committing to something and actually, making it through. But I knew what we were coming here for. Obviously, I would be lying if I sat up here and knew that everything inside the bubble the toll that it would take on your mind and your body and everything else. Because it's been extremely tough. But I'm here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to compete for a championship. And that was my mindset. Once I entered the bubble, once I entered the quarantine process, the first 2 days. And then right from our first practice, my mindset was to, if I'm gonna be here, make the most of it, and see what you can do and lock in on what the main thing is. And the main thing was for us to finish the season and compete for a championship. So that's just been my mindset. Throughout these, I don't even know how many days it is. Whatever, how many days it is, it feels like 5 years. So it really doesn't matter. But I've been as locked in as I've ever been in my career.
Dan?
I won't remind you how many days it is. Back in March, the season comes to an end. 2 players on your team test positive for this virus. Did you know, or when did you think getting to this point was even a possibility? And what was it like kind of mourning the fact that maybe it wouldn't happen?
I didn't know that this was a possibility until we actually got on the plane in LA to fly here to Orlando. We had seen some of the teams arrive before us. We had got here July 9th. We had seen some of the teams arrive a couple of days before us. But until we landed here and got off the plane, got on the bus, and actually pulled up to the hotel, that's when it became a reality to me.
All right, Malika?
LeBron, from your vantage point, what do you think it is about Eric Spoelstra that allows him, no matter if it's coaching number 1 picks or kind of a collection of undrafted / lower drafted guys, that allows him to continue to bring groups back here to the finals, but also not necessarily always be in the conversation with that upper echelon of coaches?
Well, that's a question for you guys. And the players and the coaches know how great Spo is. And there's this narrative that Spo is not great, and the narrative that he doesn't get a lot of respect, which he should. He prepares his team every single night. If you just watch the Miami Heat, no matter who's out on the floor, they're going to play Heat culture. They're going to play hard. They're going to play together. That's what he's always been about. And it's been you guys that have changed the narrative or has never given Spo his respect because he had D Wade or he had myself, he had Bosh. But a lot of coaches have talent. A lot of coaches have had talent over the NBA over the course of this league. That's not one. And it's unfortunate that he hasn't gotten his respect. And every time we talk about Spo, when I was there and talk about how great he prepared us, and we all talked about it's great playing for Spo and things of that nature, you guys always say, well, you have LeBron, you have D Wade, you have Bosh. Any coach can do it. No. Any coach can do it. If any coach could do it, then there'd be a lot more champions in this league. There'd be a lot more successful coaches. So, but Spo likes it. That's what fuels Spo, is the disrespect that you guys give him, the basketball world. But I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I don't know what Spo is all about, because he's damn good, if not great. Probably is great, because it's preparation. He prepares like it's his last time ever coaching again every game. And I know that. That's why I feel good.
Jeff Logan?
LeBron, there is political financial data that is out there that shows that pro sports owners, including NBA owners, donate overwhelmingly to Republican causes. I know they've pledged a lot of money to help with racial and social justice issues, but do you feel that those political contributions undercut some of the efforts that players are making to gain progress on those topics?
Well, one, I'm not going to give my energy to that because it's not surprising. And my mom has always told me that you control what you control. And I can't control that. What I can control is what I'm doing on my side and trying to have people gather around me and gather around my initiatives and doing what we're doing to try to affect change, not only in our communities, but outside of our communities, to the youth, and let them understand how important their voices and their vote is to our society. And it's hard as hell because they just don't believe it. They don't believe that their vote or their message or their minds or their voices matter. But that's what my energy is on continuing to push the envelope in my community, continue to let them know that they are the future. They are the reason why there will be change. But I can't give my energy to the other side because that would take away from my people, and I can't do that. But control what you can control. I can't control that. That is what it is, and it's not a surprise. But I got work to do on the other side. So that's what my mission is about.
Let's take the last few questions. Go, Chris.
Brian, you mentioned you're as determined as ever, right now, as locked in as ever, as you've ever been in a while. Usually during this postseason run, you black out from social media. You don't do it. But obviously you couldn't do it this year. You're in a bubble, away from family, important election coming up. How has that adjustment been for you during this time to have, access to social media? Could usually try to eliminate distractions, but you got it right there handy.
Yeah, I think in this particular case, everything about this year is different. Everything about 2020 is different. And to make the most of it, you have to be able to adjust. And I've adjusted in the sense of understanding that there's also a bigger opportunity coming up as well in November, while I'm still, keeping the main thing, and the focus on, leaving a legacy here and playing the game that I love to play and compete for a championship. But also letting my people know that I'm not jaded and I'm not too distracted where I cannot continue to give the resources, put the people in place to help them go to the places where they don't believe they can even go. So that's just sometimes you do things that even you personally don't even believe that you can do. But when you have a support system and you have a group around you that's just as motivated as you, you're able to tackle a few things at once.
Okay, I think we'll take the last two.
Yes, I will take the last two. Let's go with Brian.
Hey, LeBron, I kind of wanted to ask you that similar question. So just to switch back to basketball now, since you answered it, the last couple of times you were here, you were pretty outmanned by a team with 4 great players. As you come back now with the team you have around you, how do you feel going into this 10th finals now with do you feel like talent-wise, you don't have to worry about that problem this time?
I never had a problem with any team I went to the finals. I've always been confident that we had the ability to win. And if you're going to a final saying that you're undermanned or you feel like you don't have enough, then who are you? And it takes – the game is won in between the 4 lines, not won on paper. And at the end of the day, when I've lost in the finals, the better team won because they played well, they were more prepared, and they did what it needed to do to win those 4 games. When I've won, the same thing. So I'm not here to talk about the talent that I have, the team that we have. The game is won in between the 4 lines, 94 feet, and the team that is prepared and the team that execute, the team that has, not careless, throughout 48 minutes will give themselves a chance to win each and every game. So I'm confident going into this finals as I've always been in my career.
All right, last question, Joe Varden.
Hey, man. It's been a long time, obviously, since you played for the Heat, and a lot has happened to you and to the league since then. But all these years later, is there something that you still take away from your days in Miami? And then the other one is, how are you different just from the last time that you were in the finals, which was 2 years ago?
I think every part of anybody's individual life, where they was able to grow, it never leaves you. And that's no different from me having my 4 years in Miami, being around, with that culture, growing. You guys don't realize, talk about it, but I went to Miami when I was 25 years old. I was 25, and I was 25 to 29. So I was still growing. I was still a kid and still trying to figure out who I am as a person and as a man, growing while still trying to compete for a championship every single year. And I grew and they allowed me to grow and we pushed each other every single day. And like I said, I fit perfectly in that culture because I work just as hard as anybody else. I show up to work and I don't leave until I feel like I was as great as I was. And do you always become successful out of that? Are you always going to win? No, it doesn't happen like that. But, you're able to sleep a little bit better at night when you punched your clock. And how am I different today than 2 years ago when I entered the finals? A little bit more gray hair in my beard.